Welcome back, everyone, for another edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I am your hardcore host, Rick Hitt, and I'm joined by the hardcore crew. First, from the Skeldon Realms, he's Joseph Knight. Joe, what's going on?
Not much. Again, ready to go with this. We got a lot to talk about.
Yep. And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV. Lance, what's shaking?
Not much. Geared up for full gear.
And I would love to welcome back the lovely Vicious Vixen, Zoe Nightshade. Zoe, it's been a long time, honey.
It has, and it feels so good to be back with you guys. I've missed you. I missed every single one of our listeners, and I know he's listening, so I'm going to give a shout out to Terry. Hi, Terry.
All right. And last, and certainly not least, we'd like to welcome back the Wrestle Gamer, Billy Bujo. Billy, what's going on?
Not much, just getting ready for an exciting weekend of wrestling. Also, like to throw out a quick congratulations to Miyu Yamashita over this past weekend becoming the brand new Pro Wrestling Eve World Champion.
Congratulations, absolutely is in order. But tonight, we're talking about Full Gear, which is coming up this Saturday. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of these matches, they're looking really good. Let's start off with Saraya versus Britt Baker. Saraya, or Paige, is just recently came into AEW, and apparently now her
Rick,
first...
I hate to interrupt you, but it's Saraya.
Saraya. I don't know, Apple, whatever.
Why don't you just say the porn star?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, hold up, Rick. Let's get this shit out of the way. Paige, Saraya, Serena, Sarana, whatever you want to call yourself. A fan even told her to her face she's a fucking porn star.
Okay.
And she has no reason to fucking be in the wrestling ring. This is Tony Khan's fault for putting another former WWE has-been in there. She's just eye candy. She should open up an OnlyFans page and make more money from that, because then we don't have to hear her talk with that deep accent of hers. Welcome back. No, goodbye. Tony Khan invests on some real talent.
Well, Joe, I guess we already know who you're going to pick, whether it's going to be Britt Baker or Saraya.
Hell, it's going to be Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And I hope she brings her freaking dentist kit out there and removes some of those false teeth that fucking, this Saraya, Serena, Solana, Paige, the girl who did a threesome and cummed on a belt. So let's just put that shit all out there. You know what? I hope she breaks her neck again. Maybe she'll learn this time.
Wow.
Jeez,
don't hold anything
Joe,
back.
Don't hold back. Let us know how you really feel.
Absolutely.
All right, then. Here we go. Let me keep
You know
going
what?
then.
Fuck it. Joe at Scolders.com.
All right,
No,
hold
you
on.
know
Billy,
what it is?
Billy, you
Okay,
spoke
go.
up.
Go ahead,
Over
Billy.
to you, Billy. What's your...
Well, you know what? I'm not going to be so quick to jump on the hate bandwagon for one thing, and that's the fact that even I really don't care what she's done outside of the wrestling business. What I care is whether or not she can perform inside the ring and whether or not she can deliver on a good match. Now, with her being gone out of the ring for so long because of her neck injury, what I'm interested in is seeing where she is at physically and whether or not she can go like she used to. Because before the whole thing with the whole porn thing started, I still thought that she was a really good in-ring talent. And I'm really interested to see, what she can do after being away from the ring for so long. Can she still take bumps? Can she sell? Can she do moves? That's what I'm looking forward to seeing right there.
All right. Who do you think's going to win this match? You even have a thought on who would win this match?
If anything, in my mind, with Saraya just now being brought in under all the fanfare that she's been getting as of late, you would have to think it would have to be Saraya.
You know what?
Does Britt Baker need to win? I don't think she does, to be honest with you.
Well, I'm inclined to agree with you. I would like to see Britt Baker win, but that just shows, as Joe pointed out, another ex-WWE star coming in and taking the limelight and taking the wins. Zoe, over to you.
Honestly, I kind of see them giving this one to Saraya. I love this little feud that's going on between her and Britt Baker DMD. I was definitely a Paige fan whenever she was over at WWE. I'm very happy that she has been cleared to wrestle because we all know this is her passion. She's done it since she was a little kid. So I just want to see how she's going to perform before I really judge her.
Fair enough. Excuse me. All right, Lance, you get the final pick.
Well, they honestly, I don't see Psoriasis, whatever, coming back just to the first match back to be on her back. Now she's done a lot of work on her back, but I don't see her losing her first match back.
All right, fair enough. So I think we can say the majority is going for Saraya, which again I think it's going to be the obvious win. Unfortunately,
Go ahead, Joe. Throw something real quick, Rick. What if the fucking porn star wins this match? What does that tell the rest of the AEW roster who are not former WWE talent? It kind of hits back to home of what MJF said about, even though it was scripted, because now we all know it was scripted because he went and did the movie about the Von Erichs. In fact, anybody who knows Von Erich history, the famous wrestling family, the Von Erichs down in Texas, he played the phony Von Erich, Lance Von Erich. But the promo he said about former WWE stars getting ahead, this is just another perfect example of bringing in a has-been to kind of steal the limelight of a perfectly talented performer in Britt Baker. I mean, they should have gave Saraya matches on Dark to let her build up. If she wins Full Gear, I give up on AEW.
I'm not ready to give up, but I mean, I think unfortunately when it comes to the business, Joe, as you always said, they always have to go for the popular one. They're going to go what the fans want. And right now, unfortunately, Saraya has that fan base. So I think Tony Khan will probably get up Slater to give her the win. But let's move on. There's going to be also a tag team match. It's going to be Sting and Darby Allin versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Now, I think, Joe, you can honestly say this is one ex-WWE or has been that probably will most likely get the loss. I'm going for a Sting and Allin.
What another shit? What is up with Tony Khan? Here is Jeff Jarrett. Here's another one, and I'm gonna throw a little bit of a quiz. So at the end of the show, somebody can, message, put it in chat, whatever. There was a first double J in the WWF/E. Just want to throw that. Who was it? So I'm going to toss that in there for everybody to think about that. No Google, please. Just think of, if you're a fan of the WWF in the 80s, late 80s, you'll know who I'm talking about. But anyway, the man who couldn't draw a dime. The one who he'll work anywhere for food and probably to get any other plastic surgery done to Karen. This guy is everywhere because he has no pride. Hey, if you can work and if there's stupid people out there that will hire your fucking worthless ass to perform on a show, so be it. Sting must look at this and reminisce like this is WCW in its Russo days. Slap nuts can't go anymore, but he needs that money. Lord knows. Fucking retard.
I also think that Sting can't go. So if you ask me, I think that Lethal and Darby will probably be the two guys in the ring for the majority of the match.
You know what? And this is a shame too because I like Sting. I think Sting is the better athlete out of this. Slapnuts couldn't do shit in the ring. If I had to hire a Jarrett, I'd gladly take his father Jerry, who knows how to fucking book. Jarrett couldn't. Jeff can't fucking do shit. I would have rather see these guys in corner spots, but then knowing Jeff, he'll whine and cry and says, I got to do a guitar shot because I'm Jeff Jarrett, and Lord knows my wife needs money. So I would have preferred Jay Lethal, who's another incredible talent, taking on Darby Allin, who I never thought shit about until I started seeing him work. Rick, if it was me booking this, definitely Darby Allin and Sting over freaking Lethal and the man who can't draw a dime. And I'm not going to go no more in a rant. By the way, Terry 3Gs is in the chat room, and also my buddy Braun. He is also watching the stream. So thank you guys for popping in.
Thank
One
you
thing,
guys.
Zoe, Terry says, welcome back. And he
Oh.
says also, dentists don't make for good wrestlers except if you're Britt Baker. That's my add-on.
Well, Zoe, we're gonna put it over to you. Sting and Darby Allin or Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett?
I definitely don't think it's going to be Jeff. I'll work for a ham sandwich, Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I'm going to give this one to Sting and Darby Allin.
I love Zoe.
They're over with the crowd still till this day. I'm going to give it to Sting and Darby.
All right, Billy, over to you.
I don't understand the hatred for Jeff Jarrett. Am I the only one that's out in the open and who doesn't understand why Jeff Jarrett's been hated so much?
Well, I just say look at the history.
Look, Billy. We only got about maybe an hour for this show. We're not going to go take it over with why Jeff Jarrett is such a failed.
That would take an entire podcast for, and Joe would just be for Joe. You know.
Yeah.
I'll
the rest of us wouldn't get a word in.
I'll say mine in a minute.
Well, let me ask y'all this. If you put into a scenario where you went up to a conventional wrestling fan today and you said, do you know the name Jeff Jarrett, would they say yes or would they say no?
Well, considering that he's been everywhere, you could probably say somewhat yes. Would they call him a follower? Nah, that's a totally different question.
No, they'd say, yeah, I know that deadbeat.
You know.
But
Well, go ahead.
I guarantee if they say Jerry Jarrett, they will really get some shit going. Right, Lance? Jerry Jarrett.
I'm getting there.
All right, Lance, final thoughts.
Well, for one, Jeff Jarrett is the standard textbook definition of nepotism. The only reason he got where he is because his daddy is Jerry Jarrett.
Well, and let's be fair. He did some good in the WWF, but after that, he just kind of he bounced everywhere. He went to WCW. He tried to be the leader of the NWO was the silver one. That was the worst one. That was a headache.
Yeah.
So
I'm giving it to Darby and Sting.
That's what I want to see. All right, guys, let's move on. We have the Ring of Honor World Championship Fatal 4-Way. Chris Jericho will be defending his title against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. Now, what makes this interesting is that Sammy Guevara is also in the Jericho Appreciation Society. So, the real question is I'm going to ask you, Billy, do you really think that Sammy's going to give up a title shot to, to serve Jericho, or do you think he's going to say, no, I need this?
That is a very hard question to answer because there are so many different scenarios. There are so many different variables to think about when it comes into what they're going to be doing with Ring of Honor. Yes, Tony Khan is still trying to pursue a Ring of Honor deal. Now, would he be able to secure a television deal for Ring of Honor if he had Sammy Guevara as Ring of Honor champion? For all the little Sammy Guevara fans out there, I'm going to say, fuck no. Because Sammy Guevara is not a bigger draw than someone like Chris Jericho, Bryan Danielson, or even Claudio Castagnoli. They can get a TV deal with any one of those three. Sammy Guevara, no. I don't even know why AAA has the mixed tag team titles on him and Ty Conti in the first place.
You're referring to the intergender tag team.
Yes.
And you know what? Again, I don't really follow AAA, unfortunately. I didn't even know there was an intergender tag team until they came out with it. Which I think
I've been following it, and let's just say Conan is not doing a. You think Jeff Jarrett is a bad booker? Wait till you see Conan's work. Whew.
100% suck job.
Well, 100%.
Well, he likes to get 100%. So all right. Well, move on. Joe, who would be your pick out of these four guys?
I'm gonna agree with Billy. If Tony Khan's trying to make something out of this product, this brand, if I was anybody, definitely you want the face of the company to be Chris Jericho. I think it's going to come down to everybody's going to battle like a tag team. and it's going to go back and forth. Then you're going to have where Claudio's is going to pull Brian Danielson off of whoever's getting pinned and vice versa. This is going to test the Sammy where his allegiance is going to be, because he's not going to turn against Jericho. But if you got an opportunity to win a belt, this is going to make a very good, interesting match. But my personal pick, if Tony Khan wants to make something out of this company and put in a TV deal, just like Billy was saying, definitely Chris Jericho is my pick. Because Daniel Bryan, while he's famous and all that, and Claudio, and they're great fucking talent, it definitely is going to be Jericho who's the actual. I think I'm going to put it like this: he's to me the real showstopper, the Shawn Michaels of the era.
I agree. Excuse me. And that's why, personally, I'm going to say go off the deep end. I'm going to say Guevara could possibly win despite whatever Tony Khan wants for like a TV deal, even if he is possibly getting one. So that's just going to be my pick. Zoe, over to you.
Okay, so one question. Is this going to be a no DQ match?
Fatal 4-way it usually is.
Okay, so here is my prediction. Okay? So, yes, it will go almost like a tag team style. You know, Cesaro and Daniel's going to team up against Jericho and Sammy and vice versa, everything. And then whenever it comes down to the nitty gritty, I predict that the Jericho Appreciation Society is going to come out. They're going to beat down Cesaro and Daniel Bryan, leaving Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho in the middle of the ring. And what happens if we get a repeat of the finger poke of doom?
That would be interesting, but I think that would really be a bad sell. I don't think any fans who've seen that before in history, the first time you saw it was kind of a shock, and it was just like, really? That's the best they had? So I don't want to see a finger poke of doom on any situation. You know, that's just my thought. Lance, over to you.
Well, I kind of think Sammy's going to win it, but I think it's going to be with an assist from Ty Mello, because she's going to nut shot somebody, and then 1, 2, 3 new ROH World Champion.
You know what? I have to agree with you. Ty Mello will be a factor. We can't exclude her either. So there you have it, guys. Anybody in the chat room giving their picks?
Over in the chat room for Terry he says Darby Allin and Sting for that tag match. And he think it'll come down to either Claudio or Brian. So he's kind of picked with that. Question, Lance, do you think Tay would actually try to nut shot Jericho? I think that would cause a big issue in the faction.
Ooh.
Well, no, because they hadn't been teasing any dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, so I don't think there'll be a blatant double cross. They might do it with Claudio or even Daniel Bryan, where Samuel get the pin. I don't think Jericho's going to be a factor, possibly, if it goes in that direction. All right, moving on. We have a ladder match with a long-awaited match between Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus with Christian.
Rick, slight correction. It's a steel cage match.
That's what I said, a steel cage match.
You said ladder.
Oh,
yeah.
Did I? Okay,
It's a steel ladder match. We'll go with that.
It's a steel cage match. That was the intent, guys. Sorry, yeah, I'm a little losing it here in my old age. But it will be the steel cage. I'm guessing it's going to be the technical rules where it's going to either exit or pinfall submission. Thankfully, Christian will be on the outside. I can't stand fucking Christian. I think Jungle Boy really needs this win. I'm hoping for this win, so I'm rooting for Jungle Boy all the way through. Billy, over to you.
Well, if Christian knows how to do one thing, he knows how to draw heat, and he does that very, very well. We've seen examples of that in TNA. We've seen examples of that in WWE. And ever since they turned him on Jungle Boy and split him up from Luchasaurus, he has done a fantastic job of drawing heat, not only for him, but for Luchasaurus as well. Because if you turn Luchasaurus heel without Christian, I don't think it would be as big a sell or even as big of a storyline as it is right now. Now, we're going to get a good match out of these two. Considering the fact how well they know each other and how many times they've worked with each other in the past, especially in this kind of environment, it's going to be a really great match. I would say that Jungle Boy Jack Perry would need to go over to because I don't think, to be honest, Lucha. And again, I hate to keep saying the same phrase over and over again, but I don't think he needs to win.
Well, again, there was also a side rumor about Luchasaurus possibly being injured because on Rampage, usually he choke slams with his left hand, but instead he was using his right. No, I'm sorry, I had that backwards. But the Observer
fucking arms.
But the Observer suggested this, so they're saying, oh, he didn't choke his slam him with the proper hand. He's hurt. I'm like, okay, it'd just be spacing or timing, and not to mention, Jungle Boy's a small guy. But anyway, moving on. Joe, your pick of the two.
You know what? I'm gonna definitely say this has to be a match for Jungle Jack Perry. This kid he's come so far. I think after this match, he's going to move on to either the TNT Championship or some sort of other belt, because I think this is the All Atlantic Championship. This is a match he needs to win. By them playing off the Luchasaurus as an injured arm, I guarantee Jungle Boy's going to be focusing on that. It's going to come down to maybe a failed choke slam for him to roll up Luchasaurus, and this is it's gonna go in his favor, and I hope that he gets some measure of revenge on Christian. I am gonna agree with Billy. You know what? This guy, as a wrestler, Christian is meh. He's a meh. Nothing like Edge. But as a talker, I think he's slightly over Edge, because he's had more time to practice on his own. So you want to put butts in seats. You want to tease that he's going to get beat up. Christian is that type of guy. So I can actually see Perry winning this, moving on to have him maybe tie up freaking Luchasaurus and have that bad arm dangled somewhere, and then have him go full out and beat the crap out of Christian. This is going to judge Perry's career after this, because if he wins this, it's definitely moving on to either All Atlantic or TNT title.
All right, Lance, your pick.
Well, since Jungle Boy has been doing a good bit of jobs lately, he needs this win.
Absolutely. Zoe, final pick.
I'm going to say Jungle Boy definitely, and I hope that his mom is at ringside and she slaps a holy living far out of Christian.
That'll be worth the pay-per-view alone.
Yeah, that will be definitely.
She is the best part of those segments.
All right, and then we have the women's TBS champion. It'll be Jade Cargill versus the alleged TBS champion, Nyla Rose, who stole the TBS title a couple of months back. So, guys, honestly, I think Jade Cargill's got this hands down. I don't even think this is a question. Zoe, your pick.
Oh my God, this is going to be a match where I go pee. I do have to say I'll probably go to Jade Cargill, because they're working this angle where she's got all these wins and no losses and everything. I don't think that they're going to quit yet.
Yeah, fair point. Joe, over to you.
Lance, get that email ready.
Hang on. That's joe@skulldnewsroom.com. Here we go.
Here we go. You know, I gotta say this before I go into my rant. I love you guys. You put up with so much bullshit from me. Yeah.
Why do you think we have you on here?
Yeah, because I just go off. You know, I've actually got messages from people who watch our streams, and tell me, yeah, I sound like Paul Heyman mixed with fucking Roddy Piper, and I'm like, gee, thanks. That sounds awesome. But
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, my name. You know, and I represent Zoe. You know. So anyway, let's go back to this. I love Jade Cargill. She is not only a very stunning woman, she is an athlete. She's working on her wrestling, which is very rare these days. Always trying to improve, improve, improve. She's doing this. Now we look at the opponent, the failed male. You know, the one who couldn't fucking do shit as a male, who pulled a Leah Thomas. Well, I can't beat people. I can't beat other men, so I'm going to become a woman so I can beat up on little women. Here is the failed male called itself Nyla Rose. And I'm sorry for all those transgenders out there, there's nothing personal. But when you shove in people's faces, you're going to get something shoved right back to you. If that's the case, they should have a transgender champion or division. I wouldn't even oppose that. But when you have someone fighting real women, that's such a failed thing, even for something as scripted as professional wrestling. Doesn't show anything. But in this case, Rick, I'm hoping that they push the failed male to the side and give this match to Jake Grill so she can continue her dominance. And I don't think she's really lost her. She's got almost an Undertaker Goldberg streak right now. They need to go that route because I think she's going to, after this, I honestly think she should go straight for the main women's title. Over in the chat room, Terry 3G says, Jade, but Nyla is overdue to be champ again. No, it doesn't. It says, he says, I'm Joseph Scoldra, and I represent Zoe Nightshade, who is the head of the tribe. You know, if I would see, my brain went out of that way. I have to read it like if I was Paul Heyman, but I'll let it go. And I'm sure Zoe will be more prevalent as the card goes down, especially when it comes to the Moxley match.
Oh yeah.
All right. Lance, your pick.
Well, I kind of think this one's going to get thrown out because Jade has her baddies and Nyla has whoever hangs around
Vicky
with him.
and somebody else who I don't know.
Excuse me.
Yeah. So I think they're going to come in and it's just going to just break down and it's going to get thrown out.
Well, I don't want to see it thrown out.
Marina Shafir, by the way, is the name of the
Thank
other
you,
person.
Marina Shafir. I saw her wrestle a couple of times. She's a fair wrestler. I wouldn't say she's good or bad, but definitely needs more work. But Billy, over to you. Final pick.
Now, to compare Jade Cargill to a Goldberg or an Undertaker, I think is a bit of a stretch. I think if anything,
I was going by the winning, like her wins, like they're doing that.
I know. I understand that, but there's also two other people that I would actually put her, as a comparison for undefeated streaks, and that's Glacier and Tatanka, because I don't think Jade Cargill is at that level where she could be considered like a Goldberg level star or even an Undertaker level star. Now, she has been undefeated for quite some time, but the question everyone keeps asking is how long is it going to go for, and who is going to be the person to, one, snap that undefeated streak, and two, take the title from Jade Cargill. Now, I know a lot of you are not going to like this selection, but I've already seen what Nyla Rose can do as a champion when she won the title off of Riho, and she had a pretty dominant run. And I would not be surprised to see Tony Khan pull the same thing with the TBS championship and put it on Nyla, because what has Jade done with the TBS championship since she's won it?
She's defeated it several times, countless times.
Yeah, but who has she beaten other than a lot of no names?
Well, unfortunately, right now with the women's roster, you got to look at. I think Jamie Hayter. I think she went after. Has she gone after her yet?
I don't believe so.
So there are other ones. There's also, of course, Britt Baker, who obviously ain't gonna be fighting tonight.
Well, I think it's fair to say, Rick, that you got to look at the division that she's in. If she was in the women's, how should I say, the world women's division, then that'll probably be a different story, Billy. Currently, right now, for the TBS division, she's doing basically what she can do with what they give her. If it was anything else, the same thing with with the man beast Nyla Rose. It's basically who has this person beat. Okay, yeah, you could say she beat these people, but when you give someone, especially like Rose, a championship, then it becomes the whole who's going to beat the monster. Who's going to, at least with Cargill, you can absolutely, there's more of a chance you can beat that person than always the monster. Because if you beat the monster, like Riho, if Riho beats Rose, then what does that show you from the big baddie that they supposed to play? It's like a midget beating what's the King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 3. That didn't go well for the midget.
If they could have dropped the title to anybody, and I thought that would have been a legitimate TBS champion, I wouldn't have been shocked if they would have dropped it to Athena, because I think Athena is talented beyond what other people say. I know I've actually called an Athena match about 11 years ago. She was actually here in Louisiana. I've actually got to meet her, and she was a very polite young lady at the time. And I just saw like a glimmer of greatness that she had. And, I think WWE totally mismanaged the hell out of her when she was Ember Moon in NXT well, not so much in NXT. NXT, they used a lot of people a whole lot better than they did on the WWE's quote main roster. But, Athena is a good talent. I think she could have a championship belt sometime soon. I don't know when, but if they would have dropped the TBS title to Athena, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't be upset with that.
All right. So we're gonna move along to this is gonna be the Acclaimed versus Swerve in Our Glory, and this is a rematch. Now, what's interesting about this story is Keith Lee and Swerve have not really been getting along because Swerve's been obviously been the heel, while Keith Lee's been the babyface, and it's really the oil and water, and you have to wonder if that's going to be an issue. So I'm going to give this match to the Acclaimed, and I'm definitely going to see Swerve in Our Glory fall apart. Joe, over to you.
Huh. Yeah.
Joe, if you say scissor me, you're dead to me. If you say that.
Oh, I don't go that route. If they want to play scissors, they can go do the whole team up with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. All right, the Acclaimed. What more can you say? Two young guys, two talented guys, fine. Swerve in Our Glory, Keith Lee. I think Swerve is going to betray Keith Lee to move on to something else. Honestly, I think that's what I would do. So anything else, like I said, I think that's the only way that they Acclaim are going to win this, if Swerve actually takes out Big Lee. And you know what? I'm kind of feel bad for for Lee, because he's been so misused right now. I think he should be getting world title shots. I think he should be getting singles title shots, because he's that talented. Put him in a tag team, okay, to fill in. But I think this is going to be Swerve is going to betray his partner, and I think the Acclaim are going to win this. Or, as we've seen before, the Gun Club might interfere and cost the Acclaim the tag titles.
That is another possibility. Billy, over to you.
I don't think the Gun Club will get involved in this, because right now they're currently involved in a feud with FTR. So I don't understand why, that wouldn't make any sense to me to see them have anything to do with this match. Now, as far as the split up goes, we kind of saw signs of that last week during the 8-man tag, when we saw Swerve look for the fist bump from Keith Lee, and Keith Lee completely ignored Swerve on the stage. So that was one glimpse of the breakup that we possibly could see. And I for the life of me, I don't understand how this is. The scissoring is so over with the crowd, as it is, and in fact, it's even made Daddy Ass. I can't even believe I'm calling him that, relevant in wrestling again. And by the way, does that man ever age? Because Billy Gunn, I think, the older he gets, the younger he looks. It's ridiculous. It's like a whole Benjamin Button thing he's got
That's
going
all
on
the steroids
over there.
going.
Yeah.
Hell,
Yeah,
I
but-
wish I could get that fucking
Well,
steroids then, because the
that's-
man looks good for his age.
And the funny
Because-
thing, here's a weird.
He's in his 50s, isn't he?
Yes, at least. I'd have to Wikipedia, but I'm guessing he's at least 50, if not older. But
Yeah, I got to go with the Acclaimed on this. They're too hot of a commodity right now for AEW, and when they come out, people actually want to hear what the Platinum Max Caster is going to say on the mic, because he said some interesting things. He's made me laugh quite a few times, to be honest with you.
He's actually made me want to hit the mute button. I like them in the ring, but his like doing the rap thing. I just hate rap, so that's possibly So by default, I hate it. All right, Zoe, over to you.
I'm going to say it's going to be the Acclaim to win it. And I do see Swerve and Keith Lee splitting up, which to me is not really a bad thing because, like you said, Keith Lee is being misused. I want to see Keith Lee going up against guys who are almost about his size. I want to see him go up against Powerhouse Hobbs, Brian Cage, Jake Hager, Chris Jericho, John Moxley. I mean, there's so many opportunities for Keith Lee to shine.
Absolutely. And Terry 3G over in the chat room, he's going for the Acclaimed. He's like the new the WWE's New Day, so they should keep the titles on them while they're hot. I agree. And he also said, as far as Billy Gunn goes, he believes he's 56 years old. So there answers that question. Lance, over to you.
Well, I see the Acclaimed keeping it, and in regards to Swerve in Our Glory, I kind of see Swerve getting put through with that ringside table by Keith Lee, and then Billy Gunn beating the shit out of him.
I think it's going to go the other way around. I think at the end of the day, I think Swerve's going to want. If you turn heel, you're not going to want to be the heel and be the one on your back. To get the heel or the pop, you're going to be the one that betrays your partner, and they're down. I don't know, Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, usually it's the partner that kind of makes the change. So they usually, it will be the heel, and then Keith Lee will just be stuck there.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're going to see out of this. I do see a pretty much a breakup of Swerve in Our Glory because of the whole Keith Lee, and Swerve thing. That's what's going on. So honestly, I think I'm going to see these two guys break up in this match, and whatever happens with the Gun Club, they can either renew this feud or they can finish it. Because I'm going to honestly say, Rick, you're not going to see FTR lose the title anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, I'm referring to the Acclaim because FTR, they're not even having a match tomorrow, this weekend. So, but moving along. And we got, hold on. The next match is for the interim Women's World Championship. Toni Storm will take on Jamie Hayter. Now, for me, this is one of the matches I'm actually looking forward to. I think Jamie Hayter's one hell of a competitor, and I think, honestly, I could see her possibly taking the interim championship. Billy, I'm going to start with you.
Well, if they've done one thing in this storyline, it's they've actually told a pretty good story about how they were roommates during the pandemic and how they used to be friends, and then ever since Tony came to AEW, that Jamie Hayter's been a different person. They're not friends anymore. It's got the settings up for a good rivalry. Now, will they have Toni Storm drop the interim title to Jamie Hayter? No, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they're gonna. Any interim champion is not going to lose the title until the actual champion is back. They have yet to do that. They didn't do it with the interim World Heavyweight Championship when Moxley had it, and then they made him drop it back to Punk, and then Punk dropped it to whoever it is because he just decided to be a flat-out asshole backstage and bite everybody. But as far as this match goes with Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter, I don't see that happening. I don't see Toni losing the title at least until Thunder Rosa makes her return.
All right, Joe, over to you.
Oh, well, before I go into that, we got some information from Terry 3Gs in the chat room. Billy Gunn is actually 59 years old. He was born November.
59. Okay,
Yep,
he first said
59.
56 the last time I checked on the chat room, but okay.
He's 59 years old. He was born November 1st, so happy late birthday, Billy Gunn. He was born November 1st, 1963. Thank you very much, Terry, for that. Geez, you know what? Even if it wasn't for the steroids, the man's always worked out anyway. That's impressive. So kudos to the man himself. But I'm going to look at this. I have backed so much into Jamie Hayter. I became a Hayter fan that, I would love to have seen her win this belt, because she deserves it. I think finally getting recognized, she wins it. But of course, they're going to give it to the girl who can't really wrestle well, just another eye candy. But I could see the reason why keeping it on Toni Storm, because they are going to probably do something with her and Thunder Rosa later on to unify that belt or whatever they want to do. Get rid of the intern bullshit. I think back in the day, after 30 days, if the champion couldn't defend the belt, the promoter could have said, you know what? You can't defend your belt. It's going up. Surrender it to the next champion or to the top challenger, or just drop it and put it in a tournament or a battle royal. There should be none of this intern bullshit.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. But
so I would like to consider Toni Storm the women's champion. Unfortunately, I hate to say this because I would love to see Jamie Hayter win this. They're going to keep it on Storm just for her to meet Thunder Rosa later.
Okay, well, again, I am also rooting for Jamie Hayter. That's going to be my pick, or hopefully pick. So, Zoe, over to you.
I am going to have to give it to Toni Storm. I just hope and pray to God she doesn't drop Jamie on her head and she pile drive.
Oh, yeah, that's Storm Zero pile driver. It's scary.
It is, and honestly, I am a Jamie Hayter fan. I like her. I love her. But for the foreseeable future, I don't see her getting a title. I just mainly see them using her as Britt Baker's bodyguard.
Well, she's done a lot of other matches in AEW, and she started doing some singles matches. So I don't know. She's been pretty dominant in the ring. I think honestly she can take on Toni Storm. She can possibly win it. I'm hoping, but again, this is all wishful hoping. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what Tony Khan wants.
They did tease a breakup of Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker for a few weeks, but then they put the nosh on that.
Yeah. Yes, they did. So I think they were trying to make Britt Baker a babyface at the time, but they realized that they wanted to go back down to it. Lance, over to you. Final pick.
Well, I see Toni Storm winning this. Few reasons why. One, they ain't ready to break up Hayter and Britt Baker, DMD, because that's exactly what would happen there. And also, okay, Jerry Lynn's backstage. Please, for the love of God, Jerry Lynn, teach Toni Storm how to do a safe pile driver. She's going to wind up breaking somebody's damn neck.
Yep.
Amen to that.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
The last time we've seen basically someone in a faction, because we can consider Storm, Rebel, and Hayter a faction. The last time we saw somebody who was considered
you mean Storm Baker? Not you. Now you got me. So
Hayter and Baker.
No, right.
Hayter,
what did I say?
Cindy and Rebel.
You said Storm the first time, but go ahead. Anyway.
I apologize, but the last time we saw someone in a faction who was not the leader win the world championship was when Randy Orton in 2004 won the world heavyweight title, and look what happened there. In that faction, they immediately kicked him out because of Triple H's ego being the leader of Evolution, and he wanted the world heavyweight title. if they did this with Hayter, then more than likely, there is going to be a breakup between Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker, because Britt Baker's ego is going to get in the way, and she's going to want the title.
You know, Rick, and we can actually go further than that. 1989, when Sting and the Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen kicked Sting out of the group because Sting was challenging for the world title. So that's another thing too. Terry 3G says he agrees Tony's going to get it, but Jamie is getting more and more impressive, and I think she'll be up there with Britt eventually. If Tony Storm ever teamed up with Saraya, or let's see, if they ever teamed up Saraya with Jamie, they will make a great version of the Blackpool Combat Club. No, it would be the Pull Coming Club if they teamed her up with Saraya.
All right, moving along. We have for the main event, it is going to be Jon Moxley who will take on MJF. Now, this has been a match for a long waiting. MJF made his return back at Casino, where he literally hijacked a poker chip, the AEW poker chip, and he's now going to be can away the title anytime he wanted. However, the story behind the scenes is that he was doing a movie, which is why he hasn't wrestled since. So, but this is his return match, and I think everybody's behind MJF despite the heel. I think he's like right now the Ric Flair or the Miz. Everybody loves to hate him, but they're still in his corner. Joe, your pick.
Wow. I am hoping that MJF walks away with this, because when it comes to great talkers, this guy, you mentioned the Miz, you mentioned Ric Flair. I got to take this further. I'm going to say that MJF reminds me of a 85, 86 Roddy Piper, who hit those zingers, who told it like it is. This guy deserves this belt more than Jon Moxley. Moxley, I'm sorry, Zoe. To me, he's like kind of the failed world champion. He doesn't really grasp that he walks around like he's Stone Cold. I know that's his gimmick, and he tries to be the badass, which he's not. I don't know. He just doesn't appeal to me. His promo skills are lousy. His wrestling is very one-dimensional. Here you've got MJF who, despite his size, because he's not a phenomenal guy, he's like almost a Bret Hart, but he has the complete it factor. He has the look, he has the promo skills, he has the ring skills. Honestly, Rick, for him not to win this would be a travesty. So I'm just going to say, I'm hoping that MJF walks away finally as a world champion. It's long overdue. MJF needs this more than Jon Moxley. And somebody make sure, and when this event happens, Zoe better be checking the closet, because I feel a certain Moxley's going to escape.
Well, Zoe, I guess that's a cue to pop you in. Your picks on this one.
You know, I love Jon Moxley. We all know that. But I kind of want to see what MJF would do as a world heavyweight champion. He can talk the talk, but I want to see if he can walk the walk. So this time only, I'm going to give it to MJF.
All right. Lance, over to you.
Well, we've all said that from the beginning of AEW, one day MJF could be a world champion. I think this Saturday is that day.
Oh, nicely said. Billy, final pick.
There's one major factor to this match that I am surprised that no one has made mention of, and that is the possible involvement of Stokely Hathaway and the Firm on MJF. Now, we've seen what happened when the last time MJF was in the ring with the Firm. It was a beatdown. Stokely turned on MJF, and if anything, I possibly foresee the Firm and Stokely getting involved in this match, and this match going to a disqualification.
Well, you know what? I guess that could be like some sort of a trump bet. Now, right now, you could say Stokely and the Firm would get involved because of their issues with MJF. Now, if MJF was facing somebody that was in the Firm against, essentially, I would say, yeah, that's a strong possibility. I'll give that possibility. I'll say 25 to maybe 30% that Stokely would get involved, let alone make any cause and outcome.
Another thing to bring up too is they have actually been involved in a Jon Moxley match before, when Jon Moxley was defending the Game Changer Wrestling World Championship against Nick Gage. I'm not going to say his middle name, but if you guys follow that, it's fucking. But the Firm did get involved in that, as W. Morrissey jumped Jon Moxley during the match and powerbombed him through a table and cost him the title.
But
Wow.
isn't this the story currently is that MJF is trying to do this on his own as part of to say that he can earn this on his own? Wouldn't that kind of defeat the purpose?
Yeah, I think the incident happened the week before the Firm turned on MJF.
Yeah.
Well, can I jump in?
Absolutely, Zoe.
I can kind of see this happening because MJF, right before they jumped MJF, he told the Firm to back off. He told them that he would fire them.
Yeah.
Well, they have jumped him. They've been fired. They have a little bit of a grudge. I could see them attempting to have some sort of impact on this match. I don't see it going over as a DQ, but I could see them trying something, trying to distract him, something.
All right. So, as everybody's thinking right now, that is a possibility that we cannot rule out. So, thank you, Bailey, for that one. And
actually, and I'm sorry, Rick.
Yep.
Terry 3G says Moxley will win with the assist from a low blow by Zoe Nightshade on MJF. There you go.
Very well said,
keep
Terry.
That woman away from the ring.
All right, and of course,
Rick, have I made mention that I'm glad that this is your show and not mine?
Well, hey, you know what? That's what Hardcore Wrestling Rants is all about. We just don't give a fuck.
Hell no.
Anyway, now we're coming down to one other match. Is the World Title Eliminator Tournament, and it's supposed to be finalized at Full Gear. So right now, for the quarterfinals, Ethan Page and Bandito are on the left bracket, and Brian Cage is still waiting to see who will win this Friday between Lance Archer and Ricky Starks. So we still have 4 people we have to wonder of who could possibly be facing off. So I'm going to say, guys, this is just, if I were to throw one out, I would say give Ethan Page a shot and maybe Lance Archer, but that'd have to be the opening match, the buy-in match for me, guys. Yeah. This is not a high-quality, high-paid, pay-per-view worthy match. I don't know about you, Joe.
I would definitely give it to Ethan Page. You know what? I could see. I would have to say, looking at this, it might come down to Ricky Starks and Ethan Page.
You know what? That's another good, strong possibility. So, all right, Billy, I'm going to start off with you. You're on the left side again, like I said before, Ethan Page or Bandito versus Lance Archer or Ricky Starks or Brian Cage. It's still early to tell.
Yeah, it really is. But if anything, they've made Ricky Starks look like the complete underdog in this entire ordeal. If you remember what happened last week with Lance Archer beating him down before they even had a chance to even do the match.
That's
and
correct.
Especially, and Ethan, if I'm going to say anything, Ethan Page and Ricky Stark are 2 people who are on the precipice of becoming real gems in the wrestling industry. They've got the mic skills, they've got the look, they've got the ability. All they need is the time and the push. And it could happen with either one of them. In fact, the finals could be Ethan Page and Ricky Starks. I would not be surprised to see that.
Yeah, again, that's another strong possibility. Lance, over to you.
Well, Grant, I'm a little bit of an Ethan Page mark myself because I watch his videos every Sunday.
Okay.
But this, I guess, is just because the name. This just has a good ring to it. Ethan Page versus Brian Cage in the finals, and
Well,
I'm giving it to All Ego.
okay. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not really a big fan of Brian Cage. I was at the very start
Yeah.
of AEW when he came in because I remembered him from Impact, and I'm like, all right, this guy's started, doing something, and then he joined the uh, Team Taz's group for a while, and he started to kind of mellow out, and then he left, and then he went nowhere. He just disappeared. So
That's because of bad booking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, also could be lack of timing, but either way. Zoe, have I forgotten you yet?
No, you haven't.
All right.
I would not mind seeing the Ethan Page Ricky Starks and seeing Ricky Starks coming out as the winner.
All right. I think that's it for this edition because we got the whole lineup.
Well, Rick, over in the chat room, Terry says that this could play into a previously mentioned theory. The firm messing with Moxley MJF match, as Ethan Page will win the Full Gear tournament. That way he goes in against a beaten up Moxley or MJF. So whoever side the firm goes on, if Ethan Page in his mind wins this, they're going to be battling against a very worn out or beaten up Moxley or MJF. If MJF wins, I don't think they're going to really do that to him because I think they want to give that run for MJF. I think whoever wins that tournament, it's just going to be another contender to fight, and that'll be the end of it.
There is a tag team match that has been added to tonight. It will be Daniel Bryan and Claudio versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara.
And again, that's going to, probably thicken the pot, so to speak, because we're going to see how that match falls out. We're going to see if Jericho and Sammy Guevara can still work as a team towards the end of that match and maybe even going into Saturday. So, and of course, also you have to consider on the other side, if they're gonna, Claudio and Bryan can work as a team because knowing what's on the line. So, there you have it, guys. So this is gonna wrap up this edition of Hardcore Wrestling Rants. I want to give a thanks to our listeners over in the YouTube chat room, especially our VIP guest Terry 3G. I want to give a quick shout out to our good friends over at BC Games and More. You can find them over at over at Facebook in the group section. And they play a lot of old retro video games. They do trivia, give out gifts, and much, much more. Again, check them out, BC Games and More. Joe, you're over at Skeleton Realms. What do you got going on over there?
Well, I'm going to be playing some Dead by Daylight tonight, so I'm going to be streaming that. You guys will be able to get to see that. Also, I got to say thank you, Terry, over in the chat room here on YouTube. He says, great show as always. Awesome to have Billy on and Zoe back. So he says definitely take care. So for me, check me out. Just do the hashtag Skulljune's Realm. I am on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You see me play games from PC to console, from current to retro. So make sure you follow me on those channels.
All right, Billy, you're over at WGS TV. What do you got going on?
Scary games, people making me scream. I don't know why they like hearing me scream. They just do. I don't get it. It's just a little bit of a whiny scream, but everyone says it's epic. It's over at twitch.tv/WrestleGamer. And very quickly, I remember last week I talked about Japanese wrestling and promotions like Tokyo Joshi and Stardom. If you want to see a good match, to see the level of talent that the promotion Stardom has, there is a match. It's for the Stardom High Speed Championship. It was Starlight Kid defending against a lady whose name is spelled AZM, but it's pronounced Azumi. If you watch that match, I'm going to tell you that right now, you will become an instant fan of Stardom because of how well that match was.
All right. Zoe, welcome back. And from what I hear, you've got some shows going on soon, if I'm not mistaken.
I do. I do. I will be with Traditional Southern Wrestling alongside my partner, Johnny Dark Suede. On December 2nd, we will be at Knox Central High School in the gym. Doors open at 6:30, showtime is 7:30. And then come back and join us at the Restoration Christian Academy, also in the gym, on December the 3rd. Doors open at 5 p.m. and showtime is at 6 p.m. And guys, on the 3rd is Christmas in a cage. That means every match is going to be inside a steel cage.
Sounds like an event. I wish I was up here, but all right. Last and certainly not least, he's the incomparable Lance Moss over at Lance Moss TV. Lance, what do you got going on over there?
Well, every Tuesday night we go live on Lance Moss TV and friends. We never know who's going to show up, and well, we shoot the shit for an hour and a half, 2 hours, or right around the time NXT's going on. So you can watch that and listen to us and just have a good time for, like, say, hour and a half, 2 hours.
All right, and there you have it. So, for the hardcore crew, I'm your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.
Lance, Lance is a secret Nicole Bass fan.
And if you're interested in
Motherfucker.
if you're interested in buying the shirt, make sure you go to SkullJamsRealm.live, hit the merch button, and you can see all of our t-shirts there. Definitely check it out.